5 players who changed the rules of football. Football has seen many changes in its 150 years of history. Changes that have made the beautiful game evolve into one of the most amusing sports all around the world and attract more people every day. But these changes were not all about tactics and entertainment, and sometimes legislators had to interfere directly and change some rules to help football evolve as the fans' expectation rose. These changes include increasing the points of the winning team from 2 to 3, increasing the number of substitutions allowed by each team from 0 to 5, and many other decisions that seemed unreasonable or maybe crazy at first, but each and every one of them proved vital in making football the enjoyable game it is nowadays. But the interesting fact is there were players throughout history whose actions provoked officials to think about changing the game and directly caused a change in football rules. Today in Offside, we are going to talk about 5 players that caused a change in football rules. Number 5. Jean-Marc Bosman. The hope of Real Madrid fans to sign Kylian Mbappe for free is owed to a legal case that Mr. Jean-Marc Bosman started and won in 1995. But who was Jean-Marc Bosman and how was he able to end the dominance of the clubs over their players and start an era in which players got to leave clubs more freely? Jean-Marc Bosman was a Belgian midfielder who can hardly be considered an average player. He never played for any of Belgium's top clubs, and his only national experience was playing for the country's under-21 team. Before 1995, if a player's contract with his club expired, that player did not have the right to freely negotiate with other clubs because his name was still registered on the previous club's list. But that was not the worst of it. The players didn't even have control over their wages after the end of their contracts. When Jean-Marc Bosman's contract with RFC Liège expired in 1990, he wanted to join a French club called Dunkirk. But the French club rejected RFC Liège's financial demand, and RFC Liège did not allow Bosman to leave. After this incident, the Belgian club reduced Bosman's contract by 75% because he was no longer a member of the main team roster. Bosman sued RFC Liège, the Belgian Football Federation, and UEFA in the European Court of Justice, and finally, in 1995, he won this legal case. According to the court ruling, players in the European Union could join another club without paying a transfer fee at the end of their contracts. After winning the court and receiving compensation, Bosman retired from football at the age of 30 due to personal and financial problems. He spent a large part of the received compensation money on legal fees, and after a while, he went bankrupt. Guess the Bosman Law didn't work very well for the Bosman himself. Number 4. Frank Lampard. Liverpool fans might have a thing or two to say about the officials of their clash against the Spurs and blame VAR about the defeat, but no one can deny the fact that since technology has arrived in football, referees have been able to make way more fair decisions. But the player who made FIFA think seriously about the use of technology in football was Frank Lampard. In one of the round of 16 matches of the 2010 World Cup, when England was trailing Germany by 1 goal, Super Frankie scored with a heavy shot from a distance that hit the crossbar and went in afterwards. But the problem was, unlike the whole world that saw the goal on their television screens, the referees didn't. Therefore, the game was continued with the same 2-1 result, and Lampard's stunning goal was not counted. England's dream team missed the opportunity to return to the game and finally lost with the result of 4-1. But after this match, FIFA decided to introduce goal line technology to football so that we could not see such incidents again. It can be said that the goal line technology was the first step in the involvement of technology in football matches, and it played as a basis for a more evolved system like Video Assistant Referee or VAR as we know it. Number 3. Peter Schmeichel. Maybe the comparison of Andre Onana and David De Gea will prove that the most important job of a goalkeeper is to catch the ball with their hands and not playing it with their feet. But we cannot ignore the fact that goalkeepers such as Manuel Neuer, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, and Ederson Moraes, who have given a new definition to this position, have changed the game. While goalkeepers are much more present and involved during football matches and play a more prominent role in team play today, but in the past, this was not the case, and we owe this big change to a great goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel. In the not-so-distant past, goalkeepers could easily grab the passes received from their teammates by hand, a tactic that Liverpool benefited from in the late 80s thanks to their legendary keeper Bruce Grobbelaar and won many trophies. In the last 10 minutes of every match, Liverpool players would pass to Grobbelaar and he would waste much of the time just by grabbing the ball. 1992 Euro Tournament and the incredible triumph of the Danes in it, where they won the championship for the first and last time in their history with low-scoring victories and, of course, passing back to the goalkeeper time after time. When the German players were yearning to get the ball back and work an attack in the final match, Peter Schmeichel would pass the ball to his team's defenders and grab the return pass with his hand to waste the game time. This process was repeated until the end of the game, and Denmark finally won the championship. After this match, FIFA decided to enforce the rule against goalkeepers grabbing back passes. Now, after about 30 years, thanks to this rule, goalkeepers have improved their ability to work with their feet so that apart from protecting the goal, they can also help their team in playmaking and breaking the opponent's press. Number 2. Diego Forlan. The best player of the 2010 World Cup and one of the best footballers in the history of Uruguay, Diego Forlan, was the reason for the adoption of a funny rule in the world of football. You may have forgotten, but Diego Forlan was introduced to European football with Manchester United and played for the Red Devils for 2.5 seasons. But apart from the 98 games and 17 goals that Diego recorded for Manchester United, he made a more significant impact on the world of football in his time at England. For this, we have to go back to November 2nd, 2002, where Manchester United's game against Southampton was tied 1-1 until the 79th minute. United, who were competing with Arsenal for the Premier League Championship, could not afford losing any points in this home game. It was at this moment that Sir Alex Ferguson subbed off Phil Neville to send Diego Forlan in and put more pressure on the opponent's goal with him next to Van Nistelrooy. The substitution proved effective, and Manchester United returned to the game as usual in Fergie time. Diego Forlan conquered Southampton's goal in the 85th minute and took off his shirt out of joy. After this goal, the Saints wanted to start the game ASAP to make up for the conceded goal. This made Diego Forlan let go of wearing his shirt back on to help his team defend the lead. After a few minutes, when Southampton's attack was repelled, the Uruguayan striker finally put on his jersey. After this incident, FIFA established a law according to which players who take off their shirts and celebrate after scoring a goal will be penalized with a yellow card. But it's definitely worth it sometimes, isn't it, Mo? Number 1. Emiliano Martinez. You either hate Emiliano Martinez or you love this Argentinian goalkeeper. There is no middle ground. Emiliano Martinez is a master of mental games and tries to get into the heads of his opponents and distract them as much as possible. During penalty kicks, he increases these mind games drastically. Emiliano used these tricks in 2021 Copa America and, of course, the 2002 World Cup in the much disputed match against the Netherlands in the quarterfinal and also the final against France. But he helped his team win both these trophies. After the 2022 World Cup, there was much criticism of Emiliano Martinez because of his actions. Therefore, FIFA decided to pass a law to stop any extra movement for goalkeeper during penalty kicks that would distract the penalty taker. The law that became known as the Emiliano Martinez Law. That concludes today's list of 5 players who made a significant impact on the rules of football and made it what we know today. If you come up with anything else, be sure to let us know down in the comments. In Offside, we talk more about what the whole world except the Americans knows by the name of football. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and apps.